Truth. Let's go, man. Gonna smash son.
Man, Fox does it again. They have Errol Spence for regular season Dallas Cowboy game, and that's excellent promotion. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We work at ESPN Plus. Sign up below. I'm an affiliate, helps the channel. Tyson Fury is going to be fighting autocorrect or whoever. And there's other upcoming fights. They just announced Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. That's a banger on UFC, ESPN Plus. They got loads of documentaries and specials and, you know, classic 30 for 30s and whatnot. Sign up below. And thank you to everybody who has already used my link in the past to sign up. There's some recent people that signed up for the Poirier and Nurmagomedov fight. Now, speaking of another network, Fox has done a great job promoting, you know, really just since they did this deal with Premier Boxing Champs and Al Heyman, like boxing or whatever you want to call it. And I think they're giving a fresh look, and they're trying their best to integrate boxing and make sure it gets the type of coverage that it needs. High production value, high quality stuff, like in terms of how it's shot, edited, camera. Like they have this commercial with Deontay Wilder and Money Pacquiao and stuff like that they aired, and it's just dope, and I like it. Even for smaller fights like Chris Arreola versus Adam Kaunowski, which was a fun fight. You know, they set a record for the most punches thrown in a heavyweight fight. It was a fun fight, but it wasn't the biggest of fights, and they still did a face-off. So I really dig that. Speaking of face-offs, they have one for Sean Porter and Errol Spence, and I still have to watch the end of it, but I caught most of it, I feel, from being sent snippets and then watching it. I just didn't finish it, you know, straight through one shot. There's a lot that I do, but it was a great episode. Errol Spence and Sean Porter, there was real life tension, and the thing I liked about the face-off was it didn't seem fabricated. It didn't seem like someone was doing too much to try. Like sometimes we see these promotions and it's like, all right, this is not like, even Anthony Joshua, he's been saying stuff like, oh yeah, I'll break Ruiz's jaw, and then he sees him and he lets him hold the belts, you know. Or even in the rematch, he's making it sound like, oh, the gloves are off and no more Mr. Nice Guy. But then there's pictures of him dapping up Andy Ruiz and like smirking and smiling and stuff. So that's not the same demeanor, you know. He's not keeping that same energy. But Errol Spence and Sean Porter, I feel like what they've said, they had two press conferences, I know, because I went to both of them. One was during the Pacquiao-Thurman fight, and they didn't have the undercard established at that time, and they didn't have Anthony Durrell there. You know, it was just really David Benavidez, Sean Porter, his dad, Kenny Porter, Derek James, and then also Errol Spence. And I went to that one, and I also flew out to LA to go to the one with the undercard, you know, just to give you guys extra coverage and stuff. Plus, this is my state. I love California. I love LA. So I had a good time. But I think in the face-off, Sean Porter and Errol Spence, they kept the same energy. There was some tension there, and Sean Porter was coming at Errol Spence, and Errol Spence was like, nah. He's like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. Like, for example, Sean Porter said, man, my goal is to knock you out in the first round. And then Errol Spence is like, come on, man. Like, who you knocked out in the first round? You're not even being realistic. There was another tense moment where Errol Spence was like, you a dog, you got talent, but you don't got skill. And then he's like, oh, I got talent but not skill. What's the difference? What's the difference? And I thought Errol Spence responded pretty well. He said the talent, you could be born with talent. Skill is something from years of hard work and honing your talents, you know, and working on it in the gym. That's what you don't have. So, it's just watch the face-off. It was worth it. But I got to talk about it. First of all, my 49ers won, so I'm happy with that. And aside from the penalties, I thought we looked pretty good. We got to clean up and tighten up the penalties. Shout out to all my Niner fans. Yee, let's get it, But I was watching the game and, flipping through the channels. You guys seen at the beginning, you seen some of the airtime that Spence, he was in Dallas. He was at the AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys opener, and they showed his name and everything on the screen. He was talking to Jerry Jones. He had a dope seat. This is amazing for boxing. This is amazing for boxing. And I really want to commend Fox and Premier Boxing Champions for giving the fighters this type of spotlight. I'm not trying to quote unquote pick sides or whatever, because I don't have a side. My side is boxing, but I am real on my channel. That's what you guys know me for. That's the only way I know how to be. You feel me? So when I look at ESPN, I don't really see this. Like, I don't see the same cross. When I worked at Lowe's, we used to call it cross merchandising, and you can consider that cross branding, cross merchandising here, because the fighter would be your brand. That would be your product. You get what I'm saying? So if you have items from the tool section, you would put it in the paint department, because you may need that same tool. You get what I'm saying? Like if it's a paint lid opener, you would keep it in paint, but then you would put some over maybe in the hardware section by these lids or whatever, just cross branding, cross merchandising and things like that. And I think Fox has done a real good job about that. They have really and honestly, sincerely used their platform, even when it's not pertaining to boxing. It's just their brand, like football. And then they've had Mikey Garcia on it. They've had Errol Spence come to the games, had Mikey when they were about to fight come to the games. They had Errol Spence again when he has a big fight on Fox pay-per-view. If you got to go out, that's how you go out, in the words of Bishop. That's how you're supposed to do it. ESPN, when I watch regular ESPN programming, they barely even talk about Terrence Crawford versus Amir Khan. I didn't see no Terrence Crawford this and that, or have, if there's like a college basketball game or whatever's on ESPN, like a highlight show, and then they have Terrence Crawford. Occasionally you'll see somebody has a fight on ESPN, maybe on First Take. But a lot of times the guys that they have on First Take are like De La Hoya, who doesn't fight on, his fighters don't fight on ESPN, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, so they don't even have upcoming ESPN fights. I think Tyson Fury, they put him on some ESPN programming, but that's about it. You never see Lomachenko cross-branded on ESPN, or at least for me. I'm talking about shows that have nothing to do with boxing on its own. And Fox is really driving the needle, like moving the needle forward in that regard to me. I think that's excellent. Because, first of all, Errol Spence is from Texas. Texas is a big sports state in general. It's just a big state in general. And for people who might like a little bit of combat sports or boxing or UFC, MMA, it makes these people privy to get curious as like, who is that? Errol Spence, a clean-cut dude. He looked in shape, and they start talking to him. He has a unique name that you might remember. I don't know too many Errols. Errol Flynn, like I don't really know many Errols. So it hits that curiosity factor for people, I believe. That curiosity factor, like where if you're not really a diehard boxing fan, but you don't mind boxing, you like boxing, you might be a casual fan, and then you see him like, oh, he has an upcoming fight. They might show some highlights or something, or you hear the way he talks, and then you want to look into it. And I love when people use their platform. I think on a more kind of independent level, I would say my channel, but also Joe Rogan, something like that. Joe Rogan has guests on that, I don't know who his inherent fan base is, but since he's kind of started on Fear Factor and comedy and MMA, I would say hardcore boxing fans might not be his #1 market. It might be MMA fans, which are two different fan bases, which we've seen in the Mayweather and McGregor fight. But Joe Rogan has a lot of boxers on his show as well. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and recently he had Andre Ward. He's had Terrence Crawford on. So the great thing about people utilizing their platform is you already have the viewership and an established brand, and it just gives exposure, whereas some people might not have known who this guy was. Like, you can listen to Andre Ward drop gems on Joe Rogan, and even if you didn't know about him, you might just like the way he gets down and what he's saying, the message and what he's saying, and be like, yo, I'm gonna check ESPN. Okay, he's a commentator there, cool. Oh, let me look up his old fights. It'll make you want to do that. And I just commend Fox for utilizing their platform. Sean Porter, I know he's a Cleveland Browns fan. I didn't really see any coverage with him, but Errol Spence fought in Jerry Jones's stadium before, or his stadiums, Frisco at the Star and AT&T Stadium. So, it looks like he's in good there. And I just think it's good because at the end of the day, if you think about a business, what's the business #1 priority? It has to be to make money. And it's not, it's a necessity. Ain't nobody gonna open up a restaurant and then spend more on ingredients than what they sell, because you won't be in business long. So we know that revenue has to be generated, and if you're going to charge people a pay-per-view, then I really feel like I'm old school, grassroots. Do some old school type promoting. Don't just rely on social media and try to put a snarky, funny, sarcastic tweet and like, oh yeah, hey, what about Canelo Kovalev guy? That's not how you do it, especially for DAZN. DAZN talking about pay-per-view is dead. If you really want to kill it, you got to promote. They're not promoting their fights the same, in my opinion. So I really give it up to Fox. I like watching Errol Spence's journey. I think he's developing as a personality. There's a link in the description. Fox did another special, and it's like a rapid fire questionnaire where they just ask him random questions. They said, what's the hardest part of training camp? And he said, man, the diet, losing the weight, cutting the weight. He said, especially since food's all around us, you see commercials for food. People want to hang out. They want to go get something to eat. And, he probably has to watch his intake and his macros and shit like that. And he said, plus people are arguing about the Chick-fil-A versus Popeye's chicken sandwich. What is better? And I'm sitting here stuck. So he said, when I get out of camp, I just want to eat something greasy. If it goes through the brown bag, then I want to eat it, And he says he eats candy. This is just cool little tidbits that, just watch it. The link will be in the description. It's cool little tidbits, in my opinion, that bring fans closer to the actual talent. Because not everyone can afford a ticket. Not everyone can, if you live on the East Coast, you can't necessarily swing it to go to LA to go watch this fight live. So these little things bring us closer as fans to the action, to the fighter. And you might see something in that aside from how they fight, personality wise or mentality wise, where you're like, oh yeah, let me support this guy. And I think that's what we're trying to get back to. I know that's what I'm trying to do on my channel, give everybody who's doing something positive an outlet and some exposure. That's my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think. Great job by Fox, just mixing it up. Football's back, which is good. The viewership numbers I'm assuming are always high, especially for people wait months for football to come back and stuff like that. So to have Errol Spence on the opening game, take a break from his camp, I think that's good for him. Go see the team that you like and support, but also get that exposure and continue promoting. And that's what people are missing. People are thinking these mega fights are just going to promote themselves. It don't work like that. Let me know what you guys think. If you're new, consider subscribing. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.